So in the last 6 months, the crypto space has completely taken over the investing and finance world. And it seems to be the one asset class that everybody seems to be jumping on and looking to invest in. Because let's be honest, the returns have been absolutely amazing. But for me, property still outperforms crypto and is still a better investment and probably will be for many years to come. So why do I think that? Stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to be sharing exactly why I think property is a better investment than crypto and why I think you should be allocating more of your funds, more of your time and more of your effort into property rather than crypto. Before we get started, I just want to give a quick disclaimer. I am by no means any expert when it comes to crypto. I really am a beginner, so I am biased towards property as this is what we do day in, day out. So this may not be the most balanced of videos, but I genuinely do believe property investment is a better vehicle than crypto. Really, they can't be compared because they are completely different asset classes in terms of the age of them, the structure of how you invest and how you benefit from the investment. So they can't really be compared, but I'm just going to give you a video in terms of why I think you should allocate more of your funds into property rather than crypto. I still think you should invest in crypto. I still think it's a fantastic asset class, but I do think more of your funds, more of your time and more of your effort should go towards investing in property rather than crypto. So let's just start with a quick sort of overview of crypto and what it is. So for those that, if you don't know about crypto by now, you must have been living under a rock because it's even hit mainstream media. There's people in the pubs are talking about it. Even my mum the other day asked me about crypto and she's never been interested in finance or investing. So that just shows how far the Bitcoin and the crypto space has jumped recently. So yeah, crypto is essentially, like I said, I'm no expert, really not an expert in it, but it's a decentralized currency and the value essentially goes up depending on the supply and demand of it. So when more people are buying, obviously the price goes up. When more people are selling, the price goes down. So it's a bit like a stock, but it's essentially a currency. And there's some massive potential with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. It's all based on blockchain technology, which is a really promising technology, and it's definitely got a lot of potential for the future. I think the whole cryptocurrency space is the future. I definitely think it has got the potential to be a currency which is used on a daily basis, and I do think we are moving towards a cashless society. So I think the potential of the crypto space is massive. So there is a lot of benefits to crypto, and obviously there is huge returns to be made from crypto. So I'm in no way, shape or form knocking the crypto space, because although I don't have a huge amount of knowledge on it myself, I know a lot of people that do and are massively benefiting from the returns. And like I said, the technology behind it is incredibly fascinating, and there's a lot of potential with that. So I definitely think there's a lot of potential with the crypto space. I definitely think that it's something you should be investing in. But like I said, I think that property investment is currently outperforming it. And for me, it will always, and definitely for the long term, say next 5 or 10 years, will probably outperform crypto. So why is it that I think property investment outperforms crypto? Let's just jump into a few of those reasons now, and let's answer a few of your queries as to why I think property is better than crypto. So the main one for me, and a massive factor when it comes to investing or setting goals when it comes to investing, is cash flow. So property gives you a cash flow every single month. I mean, if it's not easy to get a cash flow from property, but if you get educated and you understand the basics, just buying a property, even if you didn't understand it and you just bought a property without necessarily having a lot of knowledge, and you just understood the basics, you would still benefit from a cash flow from that property. It may not be as great as if you did have the basics and the knowledge and a deep understanding of property and what makes a good investment, what makes a bad investment. But if you understood the basics of interest-only mortgages and things like that, then you would be able to buy a property pretty much anywhere and it would give you a cash flow, which doesn't happen from crypto. Yes, the value goes up and yes, you're technically making money, but until you sell that asset, you've made absolutely no money. And at the end of the day, cash flow is everything in life, in business, in investments. Without cash flow, you can't do anything. Cash flow is what helps you to live. It's what helps you to go out and enjoy the nicer things in life. So having the cash flow from a property, you're going to be able to actually see the fruits of that in real life. Yes, you can buy things using Bitcoin and cryptocurrency now, but a lot of places aren't accepting cryptocurrency. The main form of currency is still fiat currency, and at the end of the day, that's what you're going to get from the cash flow from your property. So you're going to be seeing that return in a lot more of a sustainable and a fixed way, rather than with crypto, you only benefit from the increase once you sell that, and it can be hard to know when to sell. So for me, it's a massive benefit that with property you get paid cash flow every single month. Of course you need a tenant in there, but again, if you buy in the right areas, you get a good letting agent. Especially at the moment, the demand is really high, so it's likely that you are going to get a good tenant that pays you and helps you to have that cash flow every single month. You also benefit from capital appreciation with property as well, which I know is the same for crypto, but and to be fair, the capital appreciation on crypto in the last 5 years compared to property, it massively outperforms it. But again, the capital appreciation of property is a lot more sustained and it's a lot more predictable in that sense. So again, for me, that's a massive benefit of it. So when we're talking about risk versus reward, when it comes to property versus crypto, for me, again, property outweighs the returns and the performance of that aspect versus crypto. Because yes, you get huge returns from crypto, but the risk is also very high. Whereas property, the returns are a lot more, they're easier to predict, they're a lot more sustainable, and it's easier to be able to forecast when you've got money coming in, when you could potentially refinance the property and things like that. So it's a lot easier to predict rather than the crypto space, which is going up and down every single day. So for me, property is a lot better in that sense in terms of risk versus reward. And again, it's got the proven track record. Property dates back hundreds and hundreds of years, if not thousands of years. So the property investment has always been a vehicle which performs, and it's done it over years. So it can be tracked back and it can be dated back in terms of people, like the richest people in the world for years and decades and hundreds of years have always invested in property, because at the end of the day, there's only a limited amount of supply, that there's only a limited amount of land that can be built on. So there will always be, especially here in the UK, there will always be way more demand than there is supply, because there's more people living here than what the land is that's able to be built on. So again, it's got that proven track record, whereas crypto, it was only sort of invented, and the concept was only created in 2009. So it's a relatively new investment vehicle, and it's not necessarily got that proven track record of constantly performing as an asset, because it's so new and there's so much to understand with it. And yes, there is a lot of talk about, oh, there's only a finite amount of things such as Bitcoin, they can only mine a certain amount. But that's not proven. Nobody knows whether, I haven't done my research on this massively, but for me it seems like it's just the creator has said that. But what's stopping them from mining more Bitcoin? Now, if there is something, then please let me know in the comments below. But from what I've seen, there isn't anything necessarily stopping more Bitcoin being created. Whereas with property, you can't create more land. It's impossible. So there's nothing that can be done to increase the demand, increase the supply, of properties. Whereas with crypto, there may be, and there's nothing necessarily that says there's a finite amount of crypto. One thing which I've touched on massively in this video already is the volatility side. So again, with property, yes, the returns are lower. Yes, it's not as exciting. Yes, you're not going to turn £10,000 into £50,000 in a matter of months. But what you can do is you can see the long term and the sustainability of it over the long term. So let's say you get 15-20%, you're going to guarantee that, not guarantee it, but it's going to be very, very likely that you're going to get that over 5, 10, 20 years. Whereas with crypto, you may get 100%, 200, 300%. One day, it may go up to, I mean, I don't even know the values that well, but it may go up sort of 100% on one day, and then it can fall just as quickly. And we've seen it. I mean, in the last week, I was looking at the value of Bitcoin before I recorded this video. In the last week, there's been a high of £40,000 and a low of £30,000, which is insane. And you would never see figures like that in property. So for me, again, the volatility of crypto just means that you shouldn't be investing a large amount of your portfolio into crypto, because yes, the returns can be great, which if you've got a small amount invested, brilliant. But same, if the returns can be great and the values can rise so quickly, what's there to say it can't drop as quickly? I mean, we saw it with Elon Musk. He's a few tweets and the value of Bitcoin decreases. Now, you would never see that in property. So the fact that an asset can be controlled by one person tweeting as well, it's not necessarily safe as property. And for me, it will never be as safe as property unless we see it perform over a long period of time. So again, it comes down to the volatility and why, for me, you should have more of your portfolio in property, still a bit in crypto, but stuff that you can afford to lose, because at the end of the day, there is nothing to say that the money that you've gained from crypto couldn't be wiped away within a matter of days. So again, like I said, it comes down to the volatility and how much you're putting into that portfolio, the percentage that you're investing in crypto. Now, the final point and the reason why I think property is better than crypto is because of the level of knowledge needed to get into it. Now, I'm not saying you can get into property with absolutely no knowledge. You can, but it's always best to get educated. But you don't necessarily need to be an expert and know the ins and outs of investing in property. You could just understand return on investment, cash flow, and what makes a good buy to let. Whereas with crypto, for me, it seems as if there's a lot more to understand and get your head around before you actually start investing. So for the everyday investor, the average retail investor, which I'm sure a lot of you guys watching this video are, again, it comes down to the risk and reward. If you can get into property, and there's a lot more out there in terms of knowledge and access to teaching on property as well. So if you can access that more and you don't necessarily need to spend hours and hours researching it, which you don't with property, you can still benefit from the returns without necessarily having a huge amount of knowledge. So for me, again, that's where property outperforms crypto, because with crypto there's a lot more to get your head around, and there's a lot more to understand in terms of what coin to invest in, when to buy, when to sell. There's so much more to understand in terms of the factors that drive it and the factors that increase and decrease the value. Whereas with property, you can get into it with very limited and very basic knowledge. So I'm not recommending you do that. I still think you should get educated and understand the fundamentals. But like I mentioned earlier on in the video, if you bought a property with limited amount of knowledge, you would still be able to cash flow from that property and you would still get capital appreciation. Whereas if you bought a crypto coin with limited amount of knowledge, the chances are you're probably going to lose money on that coin, or you will probably, the value could go up, but then because you don't necessarily have the knowledge on it, you may think that the value is going to go up forever, whereas you probably could sell and then before it dips, whereas you may think hold on and it dips. So yeah, again, like I said, I think that in terms of the barrier of knowledge that's needed to enter the space, I think property massively outperforms crypto. So just to conclude then, guys, like I mentioned, I think part of your portfolio should be made up of crypto and part of it should be made up of property. But in terms of the proportion of money, time and effort, I think you should be putting a lot more into the property space rather than the crypto space, especially at the moment, just because of the track record, like I mentioned, with property and how safe it is compared to crypto. So I think the 5% or 10% that you put in crypto, maybe even lower, should be like, that could potentially give you massive returns, which is fantastic. But then again, because it's only 5% or up to 5%, you don't, if you lost all of that, it doesn't necessarily matter. Whereas with property, you can put a lot more in it and know that you're going to get a good amount and a good sustainable return over a long period of time, and the chances of losing that are a lot lower than if you were to put it in crypto. So that's just my thoughts on why I think property investment at the moment and probably for the next few years is going to be a better investment than crypto, and you should invest more of your portfolio into property over crypto. So I really hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and you've taken some great value from it. If you have, comment below and let me know what your thoughts are on crypto, what your thoughts are on property. Educate me on crypto because I'm not massively educated on it. So if there's anything that I've gotten wrong in this video, please let me know in the comments below. But if you have enjoyed it, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a like. And if you are interested in property or investing, please hit that subscribe button because we're providing weekly content in the property investing space. And I really hope you guys will enjoy the videos that we have coming. So like I said, guys, I really hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, we'll see you soon for another piece of premium property content.